Hello YouTube, this is OJ Cubing, and today we're going to be seeing if we can make this Guanlong into a semi-decent speed cube. So first of all, I just want to add a disclaimer that this Guanlong is never going to be the best speed cube. It's never going to beat the Volk or the Whalon GTS or any cubes that are really top end like that. But this is really just a video to show how you can make a budget cube that you didn't have to spend much money on into something that's not too bad and fairly decent. So what you're going to need for this tutorial is obviously a budget cube, but this will probably also work for any speed cubes. It'll probably make them better. You're going to need a screwdriver with a flat head that you can use to unscrew the screws, and you're going to need some lube. Now I have some silicone lube weight 3 from the cubicle and also weight 1. I'm going to be using weight 3 for the core and weight 1 for the pieces, but whatever lube you use is going to make your cube better in the long run anyway. You're also going to need some kitchen towel to make sure you don't get your lube everywhere. And you're also going to need some sort of a surface to do this on that you don't mind getting greasy, which I'm going to get out now. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is disassemble your cube. Now you can see that the center cap can normally be popped off if you just sort of get your fingernail into there and then prise it apart. If not, you might need to use a screwdriver to do so, or something like that, you can use it as a lever to get the cap off. You just need to get one cap off and start unscrewing the first screw so that we can take off this entire first layer and pop it down there. We're going to be moving this center piece over to the sides and along with the center cap, and we're just going to move these pieces over to one side. In fact, we're going to put the center cap over there as well. And then we can finish disassembling the puzzle by just turning these faces like this. Move all of the pieces to the side and we'll look after them later. And now we just need to take off the other 5 center caps. Put them to one side as well, and then start unscrewing the rest of these so that all of these pieces are off. Now that your puzzle looks like this, you're going to want to take your centers and split them into the plastic bit, the spring and the screw. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to make sure that your screws are all good and haven't got any plastic on them. So for example, this one, we can see it has a bit of that blue plastic on it, so we just want to take that off. We can maybe use our fingernail to try and get it off, or if not, we can try and stick the flat bit of the screwdriver in there to try and get off all the little bits of plastic that have got caught within these coils. Once you've done that, we're going to start lubing up these centerpieces, and so we're going to put some kitchen cloth down quickly, and we are going to get our weight 3 lube. Now, what we want to do is we want to get a fairly decently sized drop, maybe about that big or so. And we're going to have a look, and down here we can see that there are 2 rings. We're going to put one drop in the bottom of the lower ring, just down right at the bottom there. And we're going to swirl it around like that. And then going to get another drop, maybe a bit bigger this time. And we're going to put it on this ring here, the upper ring. I'm going to swirl that around as well. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a screw and we're going to look at the flat bit here and get a fairly big drop of lube again and put it on there and swirl that around so it's all the way over this surface. And then we're going to get a spring. Now you don't have to do this, but I like to sometimes just put a bit of lube around this spring, and that can help to get rid of the springy noises that your cube might have. So now we're going to put the spring onto the screw. I'm going to put the screw and spring through the centerpiece like that so that it comes out on the other side. We're then going to press down on the bit and sort of push it into the core like this. And we're going to hold it carefully and get our screwdriver, and we're just going to screw it in just a little bit until it sort of feels sturdy, maybe until the screw is just poking up above this ring here, and then we can see it fits in like this. In fact, we're going to want it a bit tighter. So now what you want to do is prise these 2 apart with your fingers. Get another drop of lube on the end here, put it on that exposed spring right there in between the joint, close it up, and then open it and sort of twizzle it around like this so that it's all throughout that joint like this. Then we're going to want to repeat that for the other 5 centers. So now we have our center done. It is nice and smooth and fast and spinning all over the place, and that's great. You can check that all the tensions are the same by sort of pulling them apart and having a look at the spring gap. And that's going to be important. Not that they're exactly perfect and the right tension, they just all need to be the same for the moment. So now we're going to take our pieces and we're going to start assembling the puzzle. Now I've got some assembly tutorials on this if you don't know how to do it, and if you do then you don't need to watch this anyway, so let's skip ahead once I've assembled the puzzle. Okay, so when you've got to sort of this stage in assembling, you need to make sure you haven't got this piece or these 3 pieces in. We're going to start using our weight 1 lube. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take an edge piece and we're going to draw a line of lube, a fairly thick line, all the way down to the bottom there. And then we're going to just pop that down face down onto this piece here. And then going to take a corner piece and we are going to apply the lube onto this part of the corner here. And maybe a bit on the face as well. And then that's going to go over here. We can put in this corner as well. And then for our last edge, we're going to place it on this surface right here and a bit on this torpedo as well, and then we can slot that edge in like we normally would, and then we are done with the application of lube. So we're going to go and scramble up the puzzle. Well, I know it's already scrambled, but we're basically just going to keep moving the puzzle so that the lube gets throughout all the pieces and it's evenly spread throughout the cube. So that should be just about done now. And I notice it's very greasy at the moment, so I'm going to wipe my hands a bit. But we're basically now just going to solve it like a void cube. Okay, so we got it back to the solved state, and it's still really lubey. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub on each face just to get any lube that's on the external pieces out, and so that it won't be too greasy to touch. Now the reason I've left the center caps off is because that means you can tension the cube. Now you want to basically do some solves and see where you think it's right. So I think this is a bit too tight at the moment, or too loose, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my screwdriver and I'm going to do it by half a turn, and then I'm going to go to this one and turn it half a turn, and then the third one and the fourth. Now I've done all these pieces around here, I can then move on to the red by half a turn and the orange by half a turn. You can then scramble it up, see how it feels. This feels quite stable at the moment, and so I can do some more solves on it. And basically you want to keep playing around with tensions until you got it to the precision of a 1/4 of a turn. So you get it to the state where if you make it a quarter looser, it's too loose, and if you make it a quarter tighter, it's too tight. And that will be the time when your cube is the right tensions for you. You basically need it so that it can do some fairly decent corner cutting. But that's actually got really good corner cutting actually. But it's not going to randomly pop on you if you make a wrong move, and it doesn't look like this is. So once you've done that, you can go and solve it. And once you've solved it, you can put back on your centers, assuming that you've got the right tensions. And if you still decide that you need to change the tensions up, then that's not too bad, because you can just take off these center caps and you can play around with it and make sure it's at the right tension. But anyway, this is a pretty fast Guanlong. I must say, I don't think I've ever actually made a Guanlong quite this good. I'm going to move this out of the way because it's getting in my way. But yeah, we can see that I'm getting some pretty high TPS here, and it seems to be pretty good actually. It's much better than how it used to be. And so I'm going to do some time solves, and we're going to see what the fastest time is that I can get. So yeah guys, that 13.091 was quite a good time for me. It was almost a 12, and I don't get 12s very often. And so that proves that this can actually be a fairly good Speedcube if you set it up right. And obviously it's not as good as my Volk or anything, but I've just proven that you can still get good times on it. And so I hope this helped everyone out today, and that they were able to set up their budget cubes and save maybe a little bit of money. But that is all I've got time for in this video. If you liked it, then leave a like. If you want to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!